Good morning. As we prepare to begin, please turn off your cell phones, put them away for the remainder of the service.
Hi.
My name is Ann King. I'm going to be your worship assistant today, and in addition, we have Belinda doing the music, yay. Javier is usher. David is in charge of the PowerPoint, and I think he's training Javier today. And I'm sorry, I am in charge of the PowerPoint, me and Chris. And I think David is training Javier to be, oh, he's training you? Okay, he's training Chris to work to be, anyway, we have a bunch of volunteers today. Okay, is it anybody first time here? I think everybody has been here, including Nancy. It's nice to see Nancy and Tom back. So we welcome you all to Unity of Boerne today, and there is a notice of activities listed in your bulletin. If you have any questions, you can ask a board member or Reverend Jay. And for announcements today you can actually take the whole bulletin if you want, because this is our last Sunday. And we'll have a new bulletin cover next time. We're going to have lunch at the Dodging Duck today. So I think I've asked everybody in here except Mary. Mary, did you want to go to the Dodging Duck? Okay. All right. I think we have 11 for the Dodging Duck today. We're always collecting dry goods and toiletries. You know that. The basket is always outside the front door. Anytime you want to bring those, please do. They go to people in our area that are in need. We also have a lot of groups that meet every single week on Zoom. They're all listed in your bulletin. And, of course, you're welcome to take that information with you. We also have our book study in the morning from 9:30 to 10:30. Right now we're doing The Power of Now, which we did a very little bit of reading and a whole lot of discussion today. So if you're ever interested, you don't have to have read the book. You just start where you are. And, if for any reason you're not getting our weekly emails, there is a sheet back there. You can put your name and email address, and they will get you on the list. And if you put your name down a couple of times and it hasn't gone anywhere, talk to me about it, and I'll talk to Patricia and have her pull up the reason for what's going on. So let's see. So please stand. We are going to have our celebration song. It's a brand new day.
It's a brand new day. It's a brand new day. Clap your hands and celebrate. The power of love has rolled that stone away. Hey, hey, hey. It's a brand new day. Faith can move a mountain, part that stormy sea. Love can be a fountain pouring over me. Hope can build a future so we can truly say the past is past, free at last. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new day. Clap your hands and celebrate. The power of love has rolled that stone away. Hey, 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 it's a brand new day. Doubts become believing that death can be destroyed. Painful loss and grieving can open us to joy. A dawn of resurrection can chase our fears away. The past is past, free at last. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new day. Clap your hands and celebrate. The power of love has rolled that stone away. Hey, 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 it's a brand new day. Okay.
Chris is trying to run the PowerPoint from way back there, and I think that's what the whole problem is, but she's also learning to do our camera, so we're just short on people today. Yes, everybody was seated. So inside your bulletin, you'll find a prayer request form for any prayer requests you might have. You can drop them in the offering basket later. They will be put with other prayer requests, and we have our own prayer team that prays over them for a week, and then they're also sent to Silent Unity where they are prayed over for a month. We know that group prayer is very, very powerful. So now we're going to have the daily word, and that is Nancy Sorensen.
As we quietly and gently prepare for the reading of the daily word, we remember that we are in spirit with millions of daily word readers and churches throughout the world. The Christ candle is lit as a reminder of the Spirit of God within all of us, which is what we call the Christ within. The word for today is forgive. The affirmation is, I find peace and freedom as I forgive. Forgiveness is not always easy. I may resist letting go of the hurt or distress caused by someone's words or actions. Even so, I know that forgiveness makes space for peace to flow to and through me. I release what has been, realizing the past cannot be changed. As I do my inner work to forgive, I also forgive myself for hanging on to past hurts. With each step I take in the direction of forgiveness, I open to love. Love flows to me as healing energy and compassion. As I forgive, I heal. Letting go, my heart feels lighter and I feel ready to move forward. My spiritual nature of divine love and peace cannot be harmed by words or actions. I forgive and I feel light and free. If anyone has a complaint against another, forgive each other, just as the Lord has forgiven you, so you also must forgive. Colossians 3:13. Please join me in saying the affirmation together. I find peace and freedom as I forgive. Thank you. My name is Nancy Sorensen. We're grateful you're here worshiping with us at Unity Church of Boerne today.
Thank you, Nancy. You know, we appreciate our volunteers so much, and if any of you in here are so inclined, we have lots of things you can volunteer for, and a lot of them have to do with the Sunday service, but they have to do with other things too, so just let us know if you feel so inclined. Please stand again. We're going to sing our joy song, 122, Love is the Answer.
Love, love, love is the answer. Love is the answer. Love is the way. Love, love, love is the answer. Love is the answer. Love is the way. Joy, joy, joy is the answer. Joy is the answer. Joy is the way. Joy, joy, joy is the answer. Joy is the answer. Joy is the way.
Now we'll say our mission statement together. Unity of Boerne is a loving spiritual community, lighting our space for spirit growth. We honor and celebrate the Christ within all people. Thank you. Please be seated. And I'm now going to turn this over to Jay for the remainder of the service.
Thank you, Ann. Good morning. It is not my habit to mess around with cell phones during the service. I want you to know that. However, I did get a message that I wanted to read verbatim to you this morning as we begin to go into prayer. Those of you who remember Kathy and Marlon Brown, we got a message, and she said it better than I can. And so she said, this is never a bother, by the way. She said, sorry to bother you on a Sunday morning, but I just found out that my cousin, that a cousin of mine had an accident at home and severely injured herself earlier this month. She has had 2 surgeries and is still in the hospital with hopes of going home with health care in a few days. Please add her, Martha Waymeyer, to the prayer list. She and I were both only children, and we both feel like sisters since we spent the better part of our childhood together with my parents. Thank you for all you do. And then she said, this is Kathy, but thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your prayer group is so powerful and loving that makes it very special. What I've said about our Unity of Boerne prayer group, we're powerful prayers and we receive powerful results. So we hold Martha in prayer, and Kathy and Marlon too, who want to be able to get back but have been otherwise occupied on Sunday mornings. Also, our own Tom Carpenter for his wonderful and radiant health, and his daughter, who is in a new chapter of her life, doing wonderfully well after some difficulties. We uphold that. We affirm the good keeps coming. The blessings already are, and they keep multiplying. Praise and prayer multiply what we think. So that, and I also want to add, I want to add for every Sunday, I want to do this, the healing of our world, the division that we see. We want to heal division first inside ourselves, and then we're able to see that come about more readily. This is, to me, this is one of the most important things that we can do right now. As I've said, I've not seen people so butting heads against one another, and that's very hard to choose up sides on a round planet. And we choose up sides all the time, and then it becomes this division, and we want to see it healed. So let's take that into prayer with us this morning. And we do that either through writing it on the piece of paper that you find in your bulletin, a small square piece of paper that Maria is going to bring forward. I take time for you all to write anything that you may have on your heart. You may want to hold these prayer requests in the inner part of you, in your inner being. It doesn't matter. The Spirit knows. And so if when you write them down, they will be prayed over for a week by me and our prayer team, and sent to Silent Unity, where they're prayed over for 30 days. And as you know, united prayer is powerful prayer. So take a moment as Maria comes forward. If you have anything to put in the prayer box, please do it now. Thank you, Maria. Loving and infinite presence, we give thanks for your presence in our lives, for the power that you are, the power for good, the power of love, the power of harmony, understanding, peace, goodwill. These are the things that we uphold and affirm. And we know right now you're touching those who are receptive with your tender touch of grace. Your mercies and your love are fresh every morning, say the scriptures. And we call on that right now. For those that have requests that are represented in this box, be with them. Heal them. Show them the guide that is to life more abundant, which is you. We participate in the answering of our own prayers by holding thoughts of good for everything that we want to see changed. We unite ourselves internally in the integrity of our being and know that we walk forth from here on in a wonderful new blessed way. We affirm you are omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, and active in the affairs of everyone who is represented in this box and beyond. And with great clarity and extreme sincerity, we say it is so. Amen.
Okay, we're going to claim our blessing. In the morning when I get out of bed, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. Before I even lift my head, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. This is how I start my day, knowing good is on the way. I am claiming perfect health, love and laughter, friends and wealth. In the morning when I get out of bed, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. Before I even lift my head, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. With conviction undeterred, power of the spoken word, take my life and redefine, break the shackles of my mind. In the morning when I get out of bed, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. Before I even lift my head, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I lift my thoughts to higher ground, knowing miracles are all around. Each day unfolds just as it should when I'm focusing on my good. Life is filled with opportunity. I wonder what good will happen for me. I claim a blessing. I claim. I claim a blessing. I claim. I claim a blessing. I claim. I claim a blessing. 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 In the midst of his children, the Lord said he would be. It doesn't take very many. It can be just 2 or 3. And I feel that same sweet spirit that I felt of times before. Surely I can say I've been with the Lord. of the Lord is in this place. I can feel His mighty power and His grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel His mighty power and His grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
And now comes a time in our service where we turn within, where the presence of Spirit, God, whatever you call it, resides and is there with you and for you every second of every day. We recognize that right now. I'm going to read a small bit, and then we'll go into silence and allow the loving, wonderful work of Spirit to do its job. Free Spirit with me, unbound and perfect, teach me your ways and make known to me your limitless completion. O Spirit of life, control my every action and thought. Compel me to follow your light, that I too may be free and complete. I will follow your footsteps and learn of you all the wondrous secrets of life. I will follow your light into the perfect day. And our affirmation is free spirit within me. And in this silence of our being, we affirm that what we have held in this time is so, that it is done to us as we believe, and we give thanks and declare it is so. Amen.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Thank you, Belinda. Well, good morning. Let me ask, you like it? You always give me trouble about my ties. I picked one, this first one I think you've ever liked. Thank you. First time for everything. This morning I asked you a question. Would you like what you're thinking right now to appear in front of you or not? In other words, the predominant ideas that you are holding right now, would you like to see that become a reality? Now, that could be a question that has many answers over a period of days. It's different if you're stuck in a traffic jam and you get a little bit excited or hot on the collar about it. It's different if you have a wonderful meal and a good time and you're thinking pleasant thoughts. It seems like we are riding a wave in our human experience. But I want to talk about something beyond that wave, beyond the vicissitudes of daily life. Because every one of us are going to run into things that we don't like. It doesn't matter if you're an ascended saint that came down here, you're going to deal with traffic, you're going to deal with people that don't understand you, you're going to deal with weather you don't like. But that's just built into this. It's built into the experience. I'm not talking about not having preferences. I'm not talking about not perhaps wishing something or somebody was different. I'm talking about the acceptance of what is and the sure and certain knowledge inside you that you have, let's say, a program that you have set, that you have spoken, that runs regardless of what happens. In other words, I am loving and I accept life in all its forms with equanimity and harmony. You see the difference of facing something that you don't like with that underlying attitude versus being at the mercy of circumstance. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be at the mercy of every single thing that happens out there. There are things on the television, the radio, I don't want to be a part of. And when they come into my ears or my consciousness, I have a great big red stamp that I visualize, and it's cancel. And I don't necessarily know what the next thought is going to be about that, but I know I've already set the tone for what I want to be in my life in prayer and meditation. In other words, I want to be loving towards everything that crosses my path. And that doesn't mean that I approve of every unloving thing that somebody may do. It means that loving is the only answer to unloving behavior. Do you really think that the answer is beating sometimes physically, but oftentimes mentally someone else? Is anything ever solved? Let me ask you, do you remember the last time you won an argument? And fellas, if you're married, you probably didn't. Because I live by this saying, the wife is always right, and you have a happy home. I'm not really kidding about that. Generally, the female energy comes in to help straighten out some of the things we men get in our minds. And I think we ought to remember that, honor that. We're made of that stuff. So if you are in the area, the lane, the idea of acceptance, and you have loving to back that up, then to me, you're on the royal road to having a wonderful life. Acceptance doesn't mean condoning, approving, wanting, any of that. It means, as I quoted Walter Cronkite saying, if you remember the old news broadcaster, at the very end of his newscast, he would say, and that's the way it is. And this is the way it may be, whatever is in front of us. It's then up to us to process this in a way, hopefully, that works. Now, what happens? Some people decide to process it by getting negative and doing a whole laundry list of negative things. You could start just by grumbling. That doesn't seem to be too bad. But you can go all the way to substance abuse and wrecking your life on the rocks of addictions because you don't like the way things are. You don't like who you are. You believed what somebody told you a long time ago, and it's running you right now. Now, I love nostalgia. I'll be the first to admit that I like to visit those precious times and pictures and memories that were. But let's remember, not everything that was in the past was perfect at that time either. We see it through the prism of memory. And memory tends to make things maybe better than they were. In other words, the good thing that I enjoyed 20 years ago, yeah, it was good, but it's not quite as good as I'm thinking it is right now. Is that I'm kind of puffing it up because I need that because right now hurts. And we want to do anything to step aside right now. I want to walk around that rock if I can. And I'm telling you that the spiritual life calls for walking right up to that impediment, speaking blessings over what you have inside you and what's in front of you. Speak the word. Remember, in Scripture, the Word was God, the Word was with God. The Word. Our life follows not only our basic inclinations of which way we're going, it follows the words we say. So if I tell you this morning, hold that thought, I can mean two things. Hold on to it if it's good, and hold on till it gets good. Until you make it good. Until you replace it with what you'd really like to experience. Do you think sometimes, oh, it's just a thought, it doesn't mean anything? And for that moment, it may be true. But remember, those little things are the building blocks of your life. Why do you think we do meditation? Why do you think people do past life regressions? Why is there therapy? Why do people go to counselors? To repeat something that happened back here, bringing it current right now and saying, I want to feel better. Well, we all do. That's wonderful. And sometimes the only way to feel better is to go back and untie those knots in our chains. Y'all know what I'm talking about when I talk about these little thin jewelry chains. And I would be given them by my mother. And she'd say, work this out for me. And they would be so knotted, it was almost hopeless. I remember sticking needles in there trying to pull it out. And sometimes I just wanted to yank it. I knew I'd break it. But what did it take for me? A different attitude about what I was doing for her. I was making this good for my mom, and all of a sudden I relaxed into it, and it happened better. Now that may be a silly little example about unknotting a chain she gave me, but unknotting the thoughts that we have that are holding us back is not silly. It's not minuscule. It is part of the building blocks of your life. The story you've told yourself, the thoughts you've held about what you've been through creates what you're going to experience right now. Because you can't bring anything new to this moment if you haven't entertained that idea. Your presence may be new. It may be physically new for you. But are you going to get the most out of this moment, out of this now moment, when you're carrying around bushels of things that you really don't want? It's said you can never get enough of what you don't want. And you know, we have an ego that just loves to be right. It loves to collect grievances. And we think, well, if I go to bed unhappy, I may be going to bed unhappy, but I'm right. And I know everything everybody did, and I know who did it, and I remember who did it, and I'll never forget it. I had a family member, and most of my family members are wonderful, but I had a family member collect grievances the way some people collect thimbles or wonderful things that, you know, stamps, hobbies, collecting grievances. And they did that, and I'll never forget it. And I remember saying, maybe if you never forget it, and I hadn't even known metaphysics. I hadn't even begun. I was just a teenager, and I blew my big mouth off. I said, maybe if you never forget it, you're going to be unhappy, because Hugo probably going along and not even giving it a second thought. Don't you think it's hurting you? I don't care, I'm right. See there? Would you rather be right, or would you rather be happy? Would you rather hold on to the thing that hurts, or would you rather let that hot potato go? Would you rather hold on to that hot potato and have the red hand and say, I have the proof that this was done to me? Or would you rather drop it, walk on, and get this, bless yourself for having the foresight and the knowledge to leave it behind and say, let me see this in a different way. Look back at what the person did, whatever it may be, even yourself. What was your motive at the time? What were you thinking? What stage of life were you? Were you a finished product? Obviously not. It was then, and you're here now. To hold on to something that hurts and build an identity around it makes for a painful life. And you go to a therapist, you go to a counselor, a teacher, whatever, another friend, and you say, I've got this unhappiness, and I just really can't put my finger on it, but I haven't been happy in so long. I've forgotten what it's like. Well, you know why? Because you've got those bundles of stuff that are running you in the back of your mind. We talk about, in unity and new thought in general, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. And you know, we have a whole new audience that tunes in. It's our Unity of Boerne Church of the Air. And they're of a different generation. Some of them have told me they haven't ever heard this before. This may be very commonplace for you to hear this. And they're discovering in their young lives the power of their thoughts. And I've heard, you know what if I could just run it through an averager, I don't even think there's such a word, but if I had to take all the things I've heard and put it out, what I've heard from those online, it is, I just want to be happy. Some have said they want to make a lot of money, some said they want to advance in their career, but if you boil it all down, I want to be happy. And how do you do that? It is not largely, it is entirely the process of how you think and how you process what you think and what you hold on to and what you will refuse to give up. Now, if you have a belief system that works for you, and you can tell that because you're not after yourself or anybody else with condemnation, regret, recrimination, finger pointing, if that is the way you are, you're doing it absolutely right. If the reverse is true, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying there are things you might want to look at. Not necessarily all of you here, but many of you that are tuning in today online. We know certain things at 20 that we didn't know at 10. We know certain things at 30 we didn't know at 20. And as years go by, we learn a lot of things, and you know what happens? Oh, if I could only go back. But you know what? whatever it was brought you here in the present moment. And in the present moment is where healing can take place. If you're willing to drop the impediment that holds you back. Behold, I make all things new. That's not just a saying out of Scripture. It is the very basis upon which we find our faith. We put our trust and confidence in the one who says, behold, I make all things new, and be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that perfect love casts out fear. You've got the rudiments right there of life when you take these words and internalize them. When you recognize, relate, and assimilate. Not just say, this sounds good, and walk out and get a cup of coffee, or turn off the internet for now, and then I'll tune in next week. I'm talking about here and now, because it's always here and now. And the ego's way of wanting to deal with this is say, that sounds good, I'll get to it tomorrow. I'll start thinking about that tomorrow. Or I don't want to revisit that painful memory. Not right now. Maybe I'll do it in stages. I'm saying stand up, stand forth, and be counted for the sake of your own soul with a capital S. Self with a capital S. The real God of you. Because if you don't find God in you, you're not going to find a pie in the sky God. People are searching. They say, I just want to, if I only find God, if I only can reach God. God is with you all the time and is asking you a question every day. What will you have? Will you have your way that may have gotten you into all types of difficulty, or an average way where you could say, well, I've had some good and some bad, or can you say it's all good? That's a big one. But you know why you could say it's all good? Because you had the opportunity not just to go through it, but grow through it if you chose. And you know you can still grow through it even if it happened years ago. Because there's never a moment that isn't right now. Time is a human invention. The present is what's given to us and always was and always will be. What would you give up this morning? Phrase it differently. What would you have this morning in place of what you have made the most important thing to you? Now, if that's working and that's the spirit and you're moving through and with that, that's fine. But what would you release in order to say, I don't know how I may feel, but I'm willing to see what it feels like when I let it go. When I let that relationship go, when I let that person go, that experience, that heartache, that trauma. Don't you know that if you're sitting in front of the most learned psychiatrist or your best friend, you're still dealing with a thought? It's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. You can pay $300 an hour to somebody to try to help you change your thoughts. You can get a lot of good insight about how to do that, but ultimately the responsibility is yours to change. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. Now, that's just not something that's trite and cute. It's the truth. Things don't change, we do. Well, let me put it this way. Things are going to change out there all the time. But unless we change inside the way we process it and the way we understand it and bring forth our loving and our understanding and our goodwill towards it, if we don't do that, then we're stuck in a circumlocution of all that muddy mess that goes round and round, and somebody says, I just don't know how it's going to stop. It stops with you. Because in truth, there is no separation between any of us. Did you know that? We like to think we begin and end with this body. And that's true for a number of things. But there's a thought stream that envelops this planet. And it is sensitive to the thoughts you think, the images you hold in mind, and especially, most especially, the feelings that you felt at the time. Whatever they may be, whether they were good or they were bad. If I do my job correctly, I'm telling you, I want to say pleading, but I don't do that. If I had to say the most important thing that I would think about in ministry, besides surrendering the lesser for the greater, it would be what you hold in your mind. Can you be responsible for that? Can you say, I'm going to trade my powerlessness? And that's, remember, the first step of AA. We admitted we were powerless over. You could, not necessarily alcohol, it could be negative thinking, whatever, fill in the blank. We were powerless over it and came to believe that a power greater than us could restore us to sanity. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that power doesn't just work for the substance of alcohol or drugs. It works on what you're willing to give up right now. That I exchange my limited understanding for divine and greater understanding. And maybe this, maybe when you look at that person that did you the most dirty, the most difficult, can you say, maybe they were operating the only way they could given their knowledge and awareness at the time. That's the beginning of forgiveness. Doesn't mean that you're going to approve of it. It means that you try and unknot that chain. Because it's in your mind. It's not in there. Maybe in theirs, it may not, but it's in yours. And therefore it's running you. And you don't want that. Unknotting that chain means to have the patience with yourself. The kindness toward yourself, the loving, bring it forth inside your being. Bring that loving presence to that hurtful memory. Visualize. Norman Vincent Peale had a great formula. He called it PPA. Prayerize, picturize, and actualize. So you think about what you want, whatever it may be. Then you pray about it. You affirm. Good. I want to see the good in this. I want to see this through God's eyes. And you actualize. You go out and live it. And even if you don't see what you have visualized right away, you act as if it is done to you already. I'll tell you something that I didn't want to, I thought, well, should this be in a message on a church? And then I decided, yeah, why not? I used to be in the real estate business years ago. And I started the difficult way. I had a book in one hand, which is the old, anybody remember the old crisscross? Where you could look up names and addresses through this book. I had that, and I had a hand that could knock. And I started walking down the street. First house, no. Second house, no. I mean, I was just walking, just starting, wearing out shoe leather. But when the door opened just a little bit, and they asked me the questions about, well, you know, I've been thinking about selling this, you know, I've been thinking about relocating. When I was able to get in the door, when they invited me in, I acted as if I had the deal. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, I got it. When they opened the door, I knew that I had a relationship that was in the incipient, in its beginning. If I could just get them to listen and I could hear what they had to say, we could come to an agreement and I could give them a hand. Maybe 9 times out of 10, I got rejected. No, I don't have time, go peddle your paper somewhere else. But every now and then that door opened. Knock, and it shall be open. Where else have we heard that? Keep on. Keep on. Persist. Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich tells about a wonderful story about this little girl. Her mother was sick, and they were hungry. And there was a judge that lived on the same street. And this little girl went to this judge, and she found him outside, and she pulled on his coat and said, "Sir, we need 50 cents badly." He said, "All right." "Sir, we need 50 cents badly." She kept on. When he said, I'll be with you soon, talk to you later, she kept on, and she kept on. And finally, he said, "Oh, here." And he gave her $1. Persistence. You know, I think good life is largely the art of persistence. But I want to add to that persistence in love, in grace, goodwill, lack of negativity, standing in the truth of who I am, and persisting no matter what. Because I'll tell you, there are going to be times that life is going to break your heart, and you're going to need every bit of what I'm talking about this morning. But you, in large part, are the author of what comes to you. And with whatever you have to face today or tomorrow, can you say, "I know in whom I have believed, and am persuaded that he, she, it is able to keep that which I've delivered unto them, him, her, against that day." It's a big way of saying, I surrender all. And in the place of that, I claim the bounteous goodness of love and understanding, and not necessarily having to have my grievances, my judgments, or my way. I'm open to the Spirit moving within me. I invite you this morning, and those of you that are watching online, give up those things. You know what they are that hold you back. Preachers have to talk about the evils of drinking and card playing. I remember my Aunt Hazel called playing cards, 52 generals of Satan's army. You know, it's funny now when you think about it, but that's how whatever it is, can you change your mind just for a moment and say, what would I be like without this negative limiting thought? Would I have to make some changes that are big, or begin to in other words, get yourself out of the way so that Spirit can come in and give you a new idea. Behold, I am the author of new beginnings. Regret not the day of small beginnings. It's all there. It's all there in every scripture, well, not every scripture in our Bible, but many of them, and every part of sacred literature always talks about this sacred moment and getting what you think about. So I ask you again, now that you've heard this, are you willing, would you be happy to have what you're thinking about appear in front of you right now? Because it may not do it now, but I promise you, you persist in it, it's going to happen. And then what happens if it's not what we want? We run back and tell a victim story about it. Oh, look what happened. All because we were so sure that we didn't have to change anything. I don't know about you, but I've got to change myself in my thinking sometimes multiple times a day. Sometimes I have a nice period of a week or two. Life happens. Be kind to yourself, but be persistent with yourself. Be determined. And then walk forth in the beautiful, glorious new life that's promised us. This is a new day. Wrote Mary Pickford in 1934, the great silent screen star. Words I can't get enough reading. I love it. Asked about her philosophy of life. Silent movie star. What would I have to do as a 24-year-old man with a woman that was retired out in Pickfair. She hadn't even passed away yet, but she wrote words that were golden. Today is a new day. You will get out of it exactly what you put into it. And if you've made mistakes, even serious mistakes, there is always another chance for you, for this thing we call failure is not the falling down, but the staying down. Did little coquette Mary Pickford know she was a philosopher? Did she know? Well, that book, Why Not Try God, swept the United States. And it's still being read to this day, and it's still good. I recommend it to you. Change your mind, change your life. God bless you. Have a wonderful week. To those of you who are tuning in online, I've heard your wonderful compliments about our service, and I appreciate them so much. I would hope that you would press the PayPal button right now in the middle of your page and give the best gift of which you're able. Some of you want to do checks, that's fine too. You can send it to Unity of Boerne, P.O. Box 1973, Boerne, Texas 78006. That's Unity of Boerne, P.O. Box 1973, Boerne, Texas 78006. God bless you for tuning in, and hope to see you next week as usual. Ask you to give your best gift as Javier comes forward right now. Thank you. Hello, Mom. How are you doing?
Freely, freely I have received. Freely, freely I give. Divine love through me blesses all that I am, all that I give and receive, all that I give and receive.
Thank you, Javier. Together we say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I send it forth with my blessings and my love. And so it is.
Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?